Princess Elara 12. The Origin of the Eclipse. Part 12. The Endless Night. The war had begun. Light clashed with silence across the infinite sky. Stars trembled as if the universe itself was holding its breath. Wherever Elara and her companions stood, the heavens burned with their defiance. But the eclipse was vast, older than galaxies, deeper than void. As their shield pulsed against the shadow, the timekeeper appeared once more, his form blurred as if even he could barely exist in this growing silence. His voice was heavy. Elara, listen well. The eclipse is not born of malice, it is the wound of creation itself. Elara's heart shook. A wound, the timekeeper nodded slowly. When the first light was born, it cast a shadow. Creation's breath carried possibility, but also the fear of nothingness. That fear took shape, waiting, feeding on silence. That is the eclipse, the other half of existence. Not evil, but emptiness unhealed. The memory of the first, the eclipse's voice thundered across the cosmos. At last, truth is spoken. I was there before your stories. I was the silence when the first word was uttered. I was the darkness before the first star. I am the shadow that birthed your light, and I will be the shadow that consumes it. The stars flickered, each one remembering the moment of its birth. For every spark of creation, a whisper of silence had followed. The galaxies wept with fear. Elara clenched her fists, tears burning her eyes. You are not destiny, you are a choice and finished. You are not eternity, you are pain and healed. If you were born with creation, then you, too, can change. The eclipse laughed, a sound like crumbling worlds. Change? I am not a soul to be healed. Guardian, I am absence itself. The depth of despair, the eclipse extended its hand. Shadows consumed an entire constellation, erasing it from the sky. Mortals who had prayed beneath its stars woke with emptiness in their hearts, unable to remember what they had once loved. Serenia cried out and hurled herself forward, her fire blazing like a supernova. The eclipse smothered her flame, yet she rose again, her eyes burning. You can erase stars, but you cannot erase my will. Orin struck with his lantern, the light splitting into 1,000 streams of knowledge. The eclipse devoured them. Yet Orin stood tall. Even if you swallow wisdom, truth will rise again in another mind. Naira danced, her laughter piercing through the silence like a storm of bells. The eclipse tried to choke her voice, but she spun faster, her joy unstoppable. You cannot kill joy, because it is reborn every time a child smiles. Kellis laid his hands upon the shattered fabric of the cosmos, pouring healing into wounds too vast for mortals to see. You erase, but every erasure leaves a wound, and wounds call for healing. As long as healing is needed, I will not stop. Elara stood at their center, fragments swirling around her. She closed her eyes and felt everything: fear, hope, despair, longing. She opened her arms and shouted into the void. You are not the end. You are the test, the vision of creation. At her words, the fragments of possibility burst into a blinding light. For an instant, the companions and even the eclipse were pulled into a vision, the memory of the very beginning. They stood at the edge of the first dawn. There was only silence, endless and pure. Then came the first light, a spark, a heartbeat, a story. The light spread, but with it came a shadow. Not hatred, not evil, only emptiness that feared being forgotten. That emptiness cried out, unheard, and became the eclipse. The eclipse whispered, almost softly now, I was born unwanted. I was the silence no one cared to keep. Every story pushed me aside. Every song drowned me. Every light burned me. I am nothing because you all chose not to give me meaning. The wound revealed. Elara's heart broke. The eclipse was not simply destruction, it was loneliness older than time. A part of creation cast away, unloved, unseen. She stepped forward, her voice trembling yet strong. You are not nothing. You are the silence between notes, the shadow that gives shape to the light. You are part of the story but not its end. The eclipse roared, shaking the cosmos. Lies. If I am part of the story, why does every star fear me? Why does every voice curse me? If I am needed, why was I abandoned? Elara reached out her hand, even as its shadow lashed against her. Because we forgot. We worshipped only the light, and in doing so, we wounded you. But I see you now, not as nothing, not as the end, but as the silence that makes sound precious. As the night that makes dawn beautiful. The clash of truths, her words shook the eclipse. For a moment, its form flickered in endless shadow wavering between rage and sorrow. The galaxies themselves seemed to pause, waiting for its answer. But then the void hardened once more. You speak gently, guardian, but you do not understand. I have been alone since the first dawn. No kindness now can undo eternity of silence. If I cannot be loved, I will unmake all that was ever loved. The final oath. Elara lowered her hand, sorrow in her eyes, but fire in her soul. Then I will fight you, not because I hate you, but because I believe even silence deserves meaning. I will not let your loneliness become the end of every story. If I must stand against eternity itself, then so be it. Her companions raised their voices as one. Serenia, let my fire burn until the last ember falls. Orin, let my lantern shine until the last truth is spoken. Naira, let my laughter ring until the last silence breaks. Kellis, let my healing flow until the last wound closes. Together they rose, their lights merging into a single brilliance that split the darkness. The eclipse howled, its shadow quaking across the galaxies. Mortals dreamed of a great battle, a war of light and silence beyond their sight. The war of forgotten light raged on, but now the truth was known. The eclipse was not only the end, it was the wound of creation itself, longing for meaning. To be continued, moral, even the darkest void may carry a hidden cry for love. To fight it is not only to resist destruction, but to heal what was abandoned since the beginning.